Okay. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. We have a big group today of current students and prospective students. Exciting time. It's Friday, makes it more exciting. So thank you for all the students here that are joining today on a Friday. We really appreciate it. My name is Sarah Souza. I'm the Assistant Director of International Admissions here at Duquesne University. So I know, seeing some of the students in the chat, I've talked to you myself, so I'm excited to get to know you a little better. Today, it's not a huge group, so we will record so we can share with our colleagues, our other students that weren't able to come. But if you have questions, you're definitely welcome to put them in the chat, but since it's a small group, you're also able to just unmute if you feel like talking. That's fine too. So we have a solid group of current students here that I think can handle all of your questions, because they're kind of in all the areas of our studies here and different levels at Duquesne. So maybe if we could go from Hanyan, if you want to start and introduce yourself, and so then our students that are listening will know kind of, your major, where you're from, and what level you're in, so they can ask you questions.
So morning or afternoon or evening, everyone. My name is Han Ying. I'm from China. This is my 4th year in Duquesne. I'm going to graduate this May, actually. I'm a graduate student. My major is clinical mental health counseling. Also, I work for the Center for Global Engagement as a graduate assistant.
Do you want to just pass it off to someone else?
Yeah, who want to be next, Katrina?
Yeah, sure, I can go. Good morning, everyone. My name is Katrina. I'm a senior at Duquesne studying international relations and women and gender studies. I work in the Center for Global Engagement as the undergraduate office assistant, and I also am president of the Duquesne Cultural Ambassadors here, and I'm from Reading, Pennsylvania. So nice to meet you.
All right, who's next, Katrina?
Lexi, do you want to go?
Yeah, hey everyone, I'm Lexi. I'm also a senior here. I'm a biology major and I'm getting a minor in writing as well. And I'm from Pittsburgh, so all the Pittsburgh questions I can answer.
Hi everyone, I'm Manuela. I'm a sophomore here at Duquesne. I'm studying biomedical engineering, and I'm from Brazil. So any undergrad changing countries questions?
Yeah, that's great to know, because we have 2 students that came very far, and that's important when we're talking about packing. So that's the topic about today. So we have some students that came more locally, some students that came far. So I think their perspective is going to be interesting on what to pack. So, when we're talking about moving your life, kind of going into this new area, maybe Manuela, you can start with what you were thinking when you started this process. It must be a little overwhelming as an undergraduate young person to put everything into some bags and come here. So maybe tell us a little bit about what you were thinking, some things that helped you kind of organize yourself to get started.
I think what helped me, I don't know, I traveled a lot to the US before I came here. So I kind of had like an idea about prices and like what you have. Like you can just go to Target and get everything from like hygiene products to full like bed sheets and everything. So I came here like thinking that I would have to pack a lot of stuff, but that I could also buy a lot of stuff here, not so expensive. So yeah, I try to like maximize my packing, bring a lot of winter clothes, and leave like the smaller stuff to buy here. That was like my main goal.
That's good advice. And so you bought your sheets and everything here. So when you arrived, did you use the temporary rented from the housing? No? How did you make that work?
I made sure that my flight was at night, so I would get here in the morning. And then we just got here we left the bags at the dorm and we went straight to Target to buy everything.
Okay, so there was a real plan involved there. That's clever. So yeah, these are the tips that we're looking for. So if you can arrive at that in the daytime, that's a good tip. And if you can't, I do know that our residence halls, if you let them know ahead of time, they can give you some temporary bedding so that you don't have to worry about that on your first night. But that's a really good first tip. Thank you. What about you, Hanyan, when you were getting ready to kind of move so far? What was your mindset like as you were approaching that to pack?
I actually brought something like unnecessary. Like I brought 2 quilt and blanket because I don't really have a lot of stuff to bring here. So I just have a separate luggage case, just put every blanket, quilt, pillow even. Yeah. So I make sure that when I arrive Pittsburgh, I don't need to buy those stuff immediately because my travel actually is very long. It's like 2 days basically. Yeah. So I think if you from like totally another side of the earth and arrive at a weird time like me, they're probably not very, it's not very convenient to go to somewhere else to buy those stuff. So I just brought them from China. And when in 2019 I went back to China once. At that time I just buy something that I think the price is lower in China and then bring it back to US. Like some those how to say that
Folders.
folders. Yeah, thank you, Sarah. Those folders is like $2 in Barnes and Noble for each one, but in China for $2 you can buy that much.
Yeah, I also buy folders in China. That is
Yeah.
a good deal. Yeah.
So yeah, after I lived there for a year, I kind of know what things I should buy from China and bring here. Something is just unnecessary, you can just buy it anywhere in the US. So yeah, that's kind of helped me to figure out what I should buy, what I should not buy. Yeah, from
Yeah,
China.
that's a good tip as well to say, like, think about the next time you're going to be going home. And then maybe also just keep that in mind, I guess, when you're planning, because you don't need to have everything
Exactly.
possible. And, feel free to unmute anyone that has a comment on that. Maybe, what you brought your first year versus what you brought after that. Katrina, Lexi, if you want to tune in with anything on that.
Yeah, I'll just say for me personally, I realized like the first year I came, I brought way too much clothing. And for me, like it's a bit easier moving in because I'm from the other side of Pennsylvania. So I'm still about like 4 hours outside of Pittsburgh, but we're able to drive. So we're definitely able to like bring a lot more than if I were to fly in. But yeah, I definitely brought way too much clothing and I kind of realized I could do with more of like the simple approach and just bring like the main few items that I wear all the time and leave like the rest at home, as well as like there's so many stores like pretty close to campus here, so you can easily go shopping if you need more.
Yeah, and then I can just add on really quick. So because I'm local, I know that and my roommates live further away, I was always in charge of bringing the bigger things because I can make multiple trips easier. So, whenever I lived in the dorm, I was the one that was responsible for bringing the mini fridge because that's bigger than the microwave. My roommate would get the microwave. So if you know who your roommate is and you know that maybe they might have an easier time bringing stuff, you can work things out that way, things that you'll be sharing.
That's such a good point for students that are going to be assigned your first, roommate. We do have a lot of local people that come to Duquesne, so definitely take advantage of that because, I mean, I know like I have a bunch of stuff in my house that I'm giving to my niece when she goes to college. So, local people can, bring that stuff so you don't have to worry about buying it. That's a great tip. Thanks for mentioning that. I think for some of our students as well, Hanyan, maybe you could touch on the fact of coming in as a graduate student. So I mentioned a lot about coming in to housing, that's on campus, but what's it like if you're not living on campus? What to
So
pack?
it depends. Like I think it depends on if you can rent a new apartment or sublease from someone else. I sublived at the beginning. So there are a lot of stuff that they left, like food and regular like house stuff, like bath tissue, something like that. So if you are going to rent a totally just new apartment and not furniture, probably your apartment gonna be just nothing. And the first few days in your new life gonna be just sleep on the floor. Yeah, that's what I kind of like what I did. Yeah, when I was here, when I just arrived to Pittsburgh, those students who sublist the apartment to me are still here. So we have to like squeeze like everyone, like 4 people live in the same apartment at the same time for 3 days. And they have their bed, I don't, so I have to sleep on the floor. So yeah, what I want to say is be prepare what the situation gonna be here when you arrive here. Is there anyone with you or no, just you, and know what you're gonna face with? Yeah, and bring stuff if you can buy immediately.
Yeah, a hotel, that's another option. It might seem a little expensive at first, but Hanin, as you mentioned, a lot of people, they have long trips here. So, maybe for one day to get yourself settled, it's good investment, just to kind of be comfortable when you need to be. So that's something else to think about. And we can help you to sort that out as well with any recommendations about what's close to campus. So you don't have to worry about that. Okay, yeah, because that's a little tougher. Just to highlight there, most apartments in Pittsburgh aren't going to be furnished. So, that's something to really think about for our graduate students that are going to be looking for off-campus accommodation. So Manuel, I want to ask you, one question we get all the time from students, and maybe I should just say it's a statement of like fear about winter, packing, what do we wear? What is your experience? Were you able to pack enough? Did you buy things here, kind of as someone coming from a different climate to this climate?
I think in that case, I really overpacked because I was like expecting to be very, very cold, and I had some winter coats at home. I just brought like all of my winter clothes, all of them. I had to pay extra for like an extra bag. The bag almost didn't close, but I got all my clothes here, and I actually used them a lot. But yeah, I was like, I'm not getting cold, so I'll just overpack instead of underpack. But then I got here and I bought a lot of stuff too, because like you can just go to Marshall's or Ross or something and you can get like a big winter coat for $20 and you can let that pass. So yeah, I'd say that for winter it's better to overpack than underpack, because in the beginning, especially when it gets really cold, it's very hard to adjust. Like people are wearing t-shirts and you're wearing like full thermic shirts and hoodies and a winter coat. I feel like now that I've been here for like over a year, I'm more adjusted. Like I kind of wear the same as the locals do. But in the beginning, I was definitely like, I had so many extra layers.
I think you bring up a good point, and it's kind of a fun discussion we can have here about what is like local wear for university students. So like what, because for some students packing, maybe that's going to be a difference of what they pack and what they don't pack. So, what's the uniform, we can kind of say, of a Duquesne student? What do you really need?
That's a hard question because like I remember my first days here, I would look out the window every day to see like people walking around to see what they were wearing. Because on top of all the weather stuff, Pittsburgh's weather can change very drastically in a very short period of time. So you look at the temperature and it's like a 20-degree difference and you don't know what to wear. So I got to like a point that I stopped wearing shoe pants, because in the beginning I would wear shoe pants all the time because it was too cold. But now it's just like one pant, one good tennis shoe, because there are a lot of hills, so like boots and stuff are not good. And then you can just have like a t-shirt, a sweater, and the winter coat. So if you get too cold, like you can just take it off, keep it in your bag or something. But that's like the basics of it. You just kind of have to like play with the layers so you can take it off and put it on and not be cold and not be hot.
Yeah, I think that's a good tip, and a good pair of sneakers. Definitely. What do you think, Katrina?
Yeah, I would agree. Definitely have good walking shoes. And yeah, it's important to have some winter boots, I think, for like when we actually get a lot of snow, especially with all the hills, it can be a little slippery. But I would say like the uniform or so-called of like a Duquesne student, at least for undergraduates, most of us don't really dress up for class. So like don't feel weird if like you think you should be like wearing more formal clothing, but like you're perfectly fine to if you'd like to, but like most of us don't really dress up to go to class. So yeah, it's kind of casual, just like whatever you feel good wearing.
You agree, Lexi? More laid back.
Yeah, just wear what's comfortable. I don't do this, but I know plenty of people who wear sweatpants every single day, and that is completely acceptable and totally fine. And then kind of to what Manuela was saying earlier, layers are always good, especially like right now in the springtime, because in the morning it'll be colder, but then in the afternoon it'll be a lot warmer. So like I'm wearing this right now, but I'll probably take it off in the afternoon and just wear the t-shirt that's underneath. So dress comfortably and then wear layers to deal with the weather.
Yeah, I think the pair of nice boots and a lot of this stuff you can get here, if you don't have it in your country. And also we don't pay tax on clothes here. So that's kind of great to go shopping. You don't have to worry about paying a lot extra. So you might even find it's cheaper here to buy stuff than in your home country for some name brand products. But I know having a good pair of boots and a nice jacket really can change your winter experience. If you have little sneakers walking around in the snow, it's not going to be as nice as if you have a nice pair of boots. So I think that stuff's really worth it, and it makes winter a lot more doable than if you didn't. Any comments on that, Hanyan? Of must-have clothes?
I think I agree everyone said, yeah. And I really relate to what Manoa said, like two pants stuff. I actually still wear two pants because I have to commute and I don't live on campus. I walk 10 minutes from my apartment to our school, but even though that's a kind of short time, but in winter it's still very cold. I can't just wear one jeans and walk for 10 minutes outside. Yeah, so I think that also depends on how much time you need to spend on commute. If you gonna stay in the school for 1 hour but commute for another 1 hour, maybe yeah, keep warm. Yeah.
So I'm hearing like comfort, just the really useful clothing. Yeah, Pittsburgh's casual. So for, people packing, don't worry about having too much. And not that people are unfashionable. I don't want to say that, but it's just, it's a lot of comfort at this level, right? So whatever works for you. And then, yeah, having some good shoes for walking as well in our hills. Well, that's good for our students to think about. I want to change gears and talk about items. How do you pick the items that you must have, and maybe items that you thought you needed but you didn't? So maybe if you can each give some advice to our students. I know it's hard to think about, maybe they might not seem necessary, but things that you just realize that are really important and that you always bring with you. Lexi, maybe you can start.
Yeah, so I know that one of the most helpful things that I got that I didn't realize I would need is a little toolbox, actually. And it was a recommendation that someone else, an older family member who was in college, was like, no, you need this. Just because you never know when something's going to happen. So like if you have some random appliance that stops working, or just something that you want to be able to take care of yourself without having to call maintenance or something like that, it's really helpful to have. And so I had it in my dorm room freshman year. I still have it. I still use it. It doesn't have to be anything extensive, just something small with like a screwdriver and like just a couple of things that you might need. And then in terms of things that I don't really use that I packed, especially freshman year living in the dorms, I packed a lot of kitchen utensils and then I never used them. Especially because if you have a meal plan, you're not really going to be needing to cook a lot of things. So you can definitely forego that and not really pack anything like that if you have a meal plan.
Manuela, what do you think? Something you brought that you didn't really need?
I'm trying to think because I think I just overpacked like in a lot of, I don't know, I overpacked a lot. Like I brought a lot of everything. I kind of use everything, but not that much, especially because people here, they just like don't care about clothing that much. So I just wear whatever makes me feel comfortable more. But last semester, I went home and I just like took all of my summer clothes away because I was like, no, it's winter. Like, I never use this. I'm not going to use it. It's just like sitting in my room. So I brought them all back. And then this semester, I'm missing them because the weather is crazy. And I miss like having a short or another set of like short pants and stuff. So I think that's something like you need to have at least a little bit of everything. Don't be like drastic and like take everything away because then you're out of things. But
Yeah, that's a
yeah,
good tip. It's like you might, okay, I'm only going to be going to classes, but definitely important, like pack one nice business casual outfit. You don't know if you're going to be going to some event that you need to kind of be a little bit more professional, have that option. Maybe you miss having some nice spring outfits, so have at least something. Yeah, don't be too extreme in your packing. That's a good tip. Katrina, what do you think?
Yeah, so two things I found that were very useful to pack. One was any like prescription medications that you might need.
Absolutely.
So we have a lot of like pharmacies and other stores here where you can buy over the counter medication. But if you have anything specifically that the doctor prescribes for you, definitely make sure you have enough of that to last until you would go home again, or that until you're able to get access to it again. And then something else that I bought once I came out to school here that was actually pretty useful was a collapsible laundry basket. So for me, like I've lived on campus all 4 years and like I didn't have a ton of room to just like put a laundry hamper or like a basket. So I actually got one that like folds down. And so it's easy to just like tuck away in a corner or like put up against the wall. So you can definitely buy those once you get here. And then something I realized like I packed too much of shoes. I packed way too many pairs of like sneakers and just other like shoes because I thought I would like dress up more. I didn't. Like maybe like one nice pair of heels or something, or like two or three good pairs of walking shoes and like winter boots. But otherwise, like there's really not a need to bring like a ton of clothing here.
You bring up something really important, and I think it's a great question for Hanyan, is like the medical stuff. So, of course, any prescription medicine from your doctor, you're going to want to have a good supply of it. Put it in your carry-on. Put everything you need in your carry-on bag. Don't pack it in that bag that you're going to send off because you want to have it when you get here. So, of course, prescription medication, have enough of that, or let us know if we need to do any investigation for you here with any pharmacies to make sure that you can get your supply here. We want you to be safe. But what about those medicines or vitamins or something that you just like from your home country? I'm kind of giving Hanya this question because I'm wondering if there was anything from China that you were like, yeah, this is something I like to have, because I know we don't have a lot of products here that are available. So did you have that experience that you brought anything with you like that?
Actually, not really. I basically only packed painkiller and
Okay.
something like that.
Yeah, that's a good tip though, because I feel like people do have a particular, it works for them. So
yeah,
definitely pack that. I did the same thing when I lived in China, like certain painkiller or something just to have, like, or the flu medicine here I liked a
Yeah.
lot. So I brought that with me.
Just be something like emergency that you can take in case you don't get like pharmacy services around here. I think if anyone would like to bring some specific medicine stuff from your country, maybe use a small bottle or a very small like bag or something, and be sure that they are okay to be like bring to the board, because when you get out of the airport, people are gonna ask you like, what do you have in your package? Yeah, so I brought some snack, and they even asked me, what kind of snack do you bring? I like popcorn. Yeah, like specific type of popcorn. So like, okay, fine. Yeah, but yeah, so check it online to see if they are allowed to bring it here.
Exactly. That's a good tip. Yeah. With food items, of course, we know a lot of students will bring food items to feel comfort from home, but you want to make sure that you know the rules coming into the country. Fresh food, of course, would not be allowed. So, we do have a lot of stores locally that offer different ethnic foods. So I wouldn't worry too much, if there's certain things like some snack that is package that you really love, you can throw it into your bag. That's great. But do know that we have a lot of options here. You might not find it right away, but if you do some investigation work, I'm sure you're able to find it. If Manuela, did you find any local snacks or anything that you were kind of looking for?
Yeah, we have like a Brazilian group here, very like little Brazilians that just go out all the time. And when we feel like the need, there's a Brazilian market nearby, and we just buy like all the stuff to do a barbecue and like typical foods and stuff. So every time we miss home, we can just hop in there and just be together eating Brazilian food.
Yeah, that's a good tip. So a lot of stuff, rely on the people here to give you advice. So you don't need to pack up your whole home to come with you. You'll find things here. And I think that's a good reason for the WhatsApp group as well, is that you could put your questions in there. We can try our best, the CAs, the culture ambassadors, to connect you with people from your home country. So if you have questions specific, like, can I get this there? What's allowed to bring in, that's also a good resource for you to use for the WhatsApp group. We're pretty much out of time. I do want to touch on documents for a second. So if there's any documents that you needed while you were here that you didn't think you needed to bring, we tell students usually the medical documents, of course, your academic documents, and anything else that you might think is relevant. But I kind of want to get your opinion if you found you needed something that you didn't have from home. Anyone?
Yeah, for me, I started a new job here this year, and I didn't realize that I would need my birth certificate or social security card in order to start working. Now, for international students, I know that the social security card isn't really applicable to you yet. But yeah, that was just something that I found. And so I had to go about the process of getting it like expedited via mail, which is kind of tedious. But yeah, for you, it might be a little bit different.
Yeah, to scan that stuff, I think it's a good idea. Have that stuff scanned on a place that you're going to have it safe and available for you. That's the nice thing about the digital options now. You may have needed the hard copy, I'm sure, but yeah, for the students here, for anything immigration wise, once you're here, we'll help you with that. But any of the documents from home that you may need, think about those things, like, yeah, the birth certificate, that's a good option. But definitely the health certificates, some countries have little books for the immunizations. Have that, because that's something that's really important. Of course, now in days of COVID, your immunization card or the app, whatever you use, just to make sure it's in English as well, so people can understand here what they're looking at, and have a English copy of any medical documents. so that if you do need to seek medical care here, the doctors can understand what you have experienced in the past if you have any type of medical history. So I'll kind of leave it to each one of you. Students' questions, please put them in the chat. You've been quiet. I'm sorry I'm dominating the time. I'm interested to always get to know our students' experience more, but put any questions you have in the chat, please. We'll answer them. But students, if you want to kind of like give me a last comment, anything, advice, even type of luggage, things like that, it's up to you. Whoever wants to go first, just unmute.
I guess what I can say is don't underestimate how helpful it can be to have little mementos, especially things from home. Maybe you're just going to hang pictures above your desk, something like that, but something that doesn't take up a lot of space if you're bringing a lot of other things, but just don't skip out on that because you don't think it's necessary. It really will help whenever you're having a rough day or you're struggling with something.
Yeah, I support that. Like, I agree with that. I didn't bring any pictures and I regretted it the second week I was here. I kind of started like panicking, like I miss home, I miss everyone, I can see them. And then I just printed a bunch of pictures. I hang them on my wall and every day I just look at it and it just makes me feel better instantly. So that's definitely like a good tip. And also, I don't know, just make sure you bring like a little bit of everything that feels good to you, like clothes you like to wear, the bag you like to wear, something that you're used to so that the transition is not that hard. And yeah, but don't worry about everything too much because there's really nothing that you can't buy here. And don't forget your thing to sleep with. I sleep with a pillow. I forgot it last time that I came and I've been suffering ever since. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree with what everyone else said, but just final words, I would just say like we're very excited to welcome you here. And usually if you're coming in the fall, we will do like a shopping trip to take you to some nearby stores. So that'll definitely help, but don't feel afraid to reach out if you have any other questions regarding what to pack or housing or really any other questions. The cultural ambassadors are here to help you.
I just thought about one thing that I feel like really helpful for time when I came here is a temporary SIM card. It's just for like 2 weeks use because we offer every new students a free SIM card, but you just came here, at least that temporary SIM card could provide you some data and you can connect with friends you already made here or order Uber or something like that. Yeah. So that would be very helpful. Yeah. And I kind of agree everyone said. Yeah. And I didn't really bring a lot of stuff from China. And so except your immigration documents, your passport, your IDs, those things, everything basically you can find here. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone brought up so many good things. Having a little memento from home, having a little bit of things that make you comfortable. Sometimes when I moved, it was funny. I thought it would be great to like buy all new stuff when I was in college. So my friend said, I remember when you came, you only had one small bag. I thought I wanted to buy everything new. And then I regretted that because I wanted some things that were familiar. And I think it's nice. Might seem like too much to bring some things that are familiar to you when you could just buy them. But yeah, it's more sentimental to bring some things that are familiar to you, your clothes, pictures, things like that. I would say my tip is glasses. Make sure you have enough contacts and glasses because it's not something you forget about. And then you can get them here. It's not hard, but it's just kind of like an added thing that you don't want to have to worry about on your free time to see. So that's kind of my tip. But we don't have any questions in the chat. But you know what? We're all available. I'm going to put my email in the chat so you have it. And then Katrina mentioned the culture ambassadors. So Katrina, maybe you can kind of talk about how our students can get in touch with culture ambassadors?
Yeah, of course. So I'll put our cultural ambassador email in the chat as well. And we are also available via the WhatsApp group. So you might not recognize a few names, but there's a bunch of cultural ambassadors that are in each of the WhatsApp groups. So if you ever have a question about anything, feel free to direct it to cultural ambassadors. And then we will try to assist you or refer you to someone as you need. And I'll also put my personal email because just every now and then we don't always like check the cultural ambassador's email. So if you don't get an immediate response and it's an emergency or like a timely question, just feel free to reach out to my personal email.
Yeah, thank you so much. Culture Ambassador is a great resource, and we're very excited to welcome you this fall. So do reach out. We love to connect with our students in the real world. You know, we get to move from this virtual to meet you in real life. So we're already planning for your arrival, and we're really excited to have you, as Hanyin said, and Katrina, we're planning a shopping trip, and that's just part of what we have planned for this fall for you. So thank you for joining today. It was a real pleasure. Thank you for the current Duquesne students. It's always a pleasure to talk with you, learn about your experiences, and I hope you all have a really nice weekend.